applicant, the owner, the neighboring property owner, or someone else connected to the project in some way. So we'll start with Kelly Sullivan.
Hi, Kelly Sullivan with Queen City Awning, representing the contractor applicant.
Okay, great. Welcome, Ms. Sullivan. We have Jeff Osterman. Jeff, if you could unmute for us.
Jeff Osterman, I'm a neighbor, 3530 Zumstein.
Okay, great. Welcome. And Keith Brower.
Yep, good afternoon. Keith Brower. I am the owner of the property at 3535 Zumstein.
Okay, welcome. See, we also have Kate Meehan here from the City Zoning Department. Welcome.
Yes, good afternoon.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get started here. I need to read through our hearing script. This will just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll begin. So this is the January 8th, 2025 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. My name is David Starkey. Again, I'm the Zoning Hearing Examiner for the city. The case before us today is case number ZH20240155. That's 3535 Zumstein Avenue. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any other parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the Zoning Hearing Examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. For our purposes here today, I'll allow Ms. Sullivan and Mr. Brower at that time to tell me about the project and what the relief is that they're requesting and why they think it's appropriate. I'll then move to the public. If Mr. Osterman would like to provide any testimony, I'll hear from him after the applicant has presented its case. I'll hear from the zoning department as well. Ms. Meehan would like to provide any testimony in addition to her staff report. I'll give her that opportunity. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to that testimony. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. Okay, last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. If you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing here today, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So I'm going to collectively do that now with everyone who would like to testify. So if you could raise your right hand, I need you to answer out loud. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yep.
I do.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. Okay, who's going to be taking the lead here? Will it be Ms. Sullivan or Mr. Brower?
So this is Mr. Brower. I'll take the lead on it.
Sure, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So good afternoon, everyone. So what we're seeking to do with this house project is basically a replacement of a canopy awning that had been on the house, probably initially built sometime in the 1930s. I think Ms. Sullivan is probably, along with the application packet, shared photos. I can certainly bring them up if the rest of the group wants to see them here. Let me do that here. Let's see. Documents. Sorry, I'm used to sharing on Teams, not necessarily on.
Sure.
Okay, let me do this. Share.
Are you looking for just the images that?
Yeah, this is the proposed image. Let me kind of explain the layout of the house. So what we believe is I've owned the house since 1996. We believe sometime in the 1930s or 1940s, the house was modified. The single car concrete garage was added to the front of the house. It is at the same level of the front porch, which kind of creates an extension to the front porch of about 12 feet. And then it goes back probably about 16 or 17 feet. On that area at that time, they also had built a galvanized pipe canopy. It was made of 3/4-inch galvanized pipe, where you see the 3 main supports, and then a 1/2-inch galvanized pipe across the top to connect over to the house. And upon that was a canopy, we believe, at some point. When I bought the house, the canopy was long gone, but what the previous owner had done is they had planted Japanese wisteria, and that was kind of allowed to grow over the existing canopy frame. About 5 years ago, we had to have the chimneys rebuilt, had to start removing some of the wisteria. And then at some point, a year after that, we took the rest of the wisteria down because the roots of the wisteria were kind of crushing the garage, causing it to start cracking. So we elected to take all the wisteria and the yew bush down from the side yard, which left it totally vacant. So what we're now trying to do is we've since restored the garage, rebuilt all the railings. What we'd like to do is to basically replace the canopy that was there with a modified version. So rather than have the support poles go all the way to the ground, these poles will be bolted to the side of the garage. And then what we'll do is we'll have a new, stronger canopy frame that supports, new requirements for snow loads and things like that. The canopy will be finished in what you see there, kind of a material that kind of matches the color scheme of the house, the red, the beige, dark green. So the relief we're seeking is basically to replace the canopy that was there, realizing that I guess it did extend a little bit over that the standard side yard setback requirement currently is in force.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Anything else, Mr. Brower or Ms. Sullivan? Did you want to add anything?
No,
I'm sorry. Let me just add, I think, I know Jeff is aware. I think most of the neighbors are aware of what was there. Like I say, it had been there up till about 4 or 5 years ago. So again, this is just try to replace what was there and to put something that's a little nicer, a little bit cleaner back in its place.
Okay. And you mentioned that the awning is going to extend slightly further than the garage. Is that right?
That's right. There'll be kind of maybe a foot or so overhang over the garage to kind of protect the railings.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, it won't extend any further than the previous awning frame was.
Okay. And the allowed side setback on that side of the house is what? Do you know? Is it 7 feet?
That's what I saw in the letter from the city, which kind of surprised me because I was under the understanding that the side yard setback was commonly 3 feet for people that have kind of built garages and overhangs and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if
That's
Kate
something I think that
can comment on that.
Kate can verify quickly. I can pull that up as well. But
Okay.
Kate, did you want to just verify that it's 7 feet on that side according to the code?
Yes, that's correct. It's an SF6 zoning district, so the requirement is to have a minimum of a 7-foot side yard setback.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I see that. Okay, and you're proposing instead of 7 feet, a 3 feet side setback for the awning portion, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's
Right.
that's fairly close to where the existing garage currently is today.
Right. Okay. Great. All right. Thanks, Mr. Brower. I think we'll turn it over now to public. Mr. Osterman, is there anything you want to add to the conversation here?
Sure. I just want to have my support for approval of the variance. Keith has put a lot of personal time and resources into making this house one of the showcase properties on the street. So we don't have any problems, and I don't know that I can speak for other neighbors, but I know our family really likes what he does with his house and recommend approval.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here, Mr. Osterman. Thanks for your testimony. Ms. Meehan, did you want to provide any testimony?
I don't really have anything further to add. I think Mr. Brower did a good job of presenting the case. The staff does recommend in favor of the awning. It's just that it does need that side yard setback relief, which is why we're here today for the hearing. But otherwise, staff does not have any issues with the awning or especially in light of there having been something here before.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Meehan. I'll turn it back to Mr. Brower. Anything you want to say in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
So, we appreciate the approval. I think this will be kind of a crowning achievement on what's been kind of a long process of restoring the house over the last couple of years. I think it'll look really nice with the house. Interestingly, just a side quick note, I had a gentleman come up to me a couple weeks ago saying that he lived in the house back in the late 60s and 70s, and he can recall his dad and friends setting up a band on that garage and playing for the neighbors under that
Ah.
awning. So he was pleased to hear there was something put back there as well.
Okay, that is interesting. Mr. Osterman, do you still support if they're having live shows out there?
Yeah, I was going to maybe suggest that he does do that. One other comment I did have, I know that in my professional career, I've worked with Queen City Awning a number of times, and they do a really good job as well. So I think, it's not some, seat of the pants awning company. So I think the city can have some confidence that it's going to be done in a proper and tasteful manner.
Okay, great.
If
All
I
right,
might just say real quick,
Sure.
thank you, Mr. Osman. We appreciate that, and I appreciate Mr. Brower presenting as well. So we appreciate your support in all this. Thank you.
All right, great. Let's leave it at that. I've had a chance to review the application materials and the staff report. Based on that, and based on the testimony that I've heard here today, I am going to approve the project. I think it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code to this particular application. And so I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. I mentioned at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. As soon as I finish that written decision, I put it into a PDF. I'll email it to everybody in the hearing here today. So you all have a copy of that really just moments after it's complete. That includes Ms. Meehan. And when she has that, she can approve the zoning permitting on her end, and you all can take the next steps.
Awesome. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all again for your time, your testimony here today.